Hey there, welcome to week 34. Yes, week 34. And we are talking about the Vanity card, which is actually the fable of Aqua People. So there's your Vanity card. And a couple things that I want to mention about this. Let's take a look at the image for one moment. I mean, I want to point out that he is holding the stranger. And it's very interesting because this is one of the cards where I talk about it a little bit more in length in the how to read the cards for yourself and others, because this is the stranger and it's the only card that he actually appears in. And there are your three characters celebrating. And notice the aqua light around him. Now, I always do this. Dang it, peoples. I yawn a lot when I'm doing this stuff. Okay, so Aqua People ultimately really is about wanting more and more and more and acquiring things without really kind of having a sense of what it's for. Like, the thing that I find very amazing to me is those who really are struggling to make ends meet, and yet they drive a luxury car and have the top of the line cell phone. And yet, they live in a little pie-shaped apartment, or a little, I want to say a pillbox apartment, and they're struggling. And, I have to say to you, that's what Aqua People reminds me of. It reminds me of the facade in some ways. And if you remember Bronze God, the fable of Bronze God, this is kind of a little bit more, I want to say, a different version of it, a different take on it, where having more, better, bigger, yeah, that's going to make me okay. Oh my goodness. I am like yawn-matic here today. So anyway, and it actually says, I need more, better, bigger. Yes, that will make me okay. And I relate to this in a lot of ways, because when in my late 20s, 30s, when I moved to California and I lived there, for me, it was like I had to have the nicest car. I had to have the nicest place. And it was more about that than it was about substance. And I think that was where my turning point came in many ways, when I recognized that just didn't matter to me. And it's not that I don't like nice things. It's just that it didn't matter what people thought about it. And I think that's the thing, is that I want to be comfortable in where I am. Not so much do I want to have something that I can show people I have. And therefore, this is where I'm going with this. Therefore, when I look at the Vanity card, I had such resistance to this card. This has been the hardest. I would say this is one of the hardest cards in the deck for me. I would look at it in a reading and go blank. So, in fact, it's probably why I'm yawning so much, because it's like I'm still going, oh, this card, and there's something to this card. Again, we notice that it's in the fourth position, right? So it's the fourth position of the seventh chakra. And what does that tell us? Heart issues. So it's about being true to your heart, or are you? And for me, that has been a big lesson. So sometimes, we resist something, the cliche, what we resist persists. Something that happens is we really resist something that we know may not be right for us, and yet it represents us. I mean, I know that sounds odd to say, but, I think that not knowing how to behave and not knowing what would make me okay was something that attracted, that really told my story here. And at the same time, it tells my story out. And so it still has that kind of effect on me when I look at it and go, I don't know that I like this card. But that said, a lot of people love it. And I think it's very, I think it is a powerful card in many ways, because one of the things it does represent, and it kind of is the precursor to making the decision about who you do or don't want in your life. And that is, with this card, and especially in the fable, when you look at the players in the fable and what they go through, one of the things that I think happens here is that you start to go, I need to begin clearing out my life. I need to be clearing out people that do not represent who I am and how my world works. And I think that's a big part of when I see this card. It's like, oh no, it's more like, and remember, I've been talking about me. So the reality is that when I have to clean out other people, it means, I have to make some internal changes, because in order for me to attract that fresh group of people and a new idea, I have to clean out the old behavior, because people either go or grow. And once you change your behavior, they can't be with something that is not like them. So that's why I always, say to people, if you spot it, you got it, because the truth is that you're only going to be attracted to what you are. So like for me, there's also the other side of it, repulsing, like, oh, I hate this card, like, but at the same time, I think it's a very powerful lesson of my frustration, personal frustration, over knowing that I've learned so much and wanting to be able to share what I've learned with people who may not be able to get it. And we have to get in this fable that is a part of it, that there are people in your life who may not be able to get what the lesson is that you see so easy to acquire. And that's where my frustration took on a whole new level, because at first it was just I didn't like the characters. Then, oh my goodness, then I recognized how much I was like them. And then I recognized that once I saw how much I was like them, I then wasn't the one who didn't get the memo. And I have spent my life feeling frustrated around people, particularly my family, who didn't get the memo, who didn't get the lesson so they could move past whatever was holding them back. So this card really is about that. Are you going to get that memo? Are you going to be able to move past what has held you back? So when we look at the exercise here, remember, fifth chakra, communication. Are you going to be able to be clear without being abusive to yourself? Are you going to be kind to opening your heart? Or are you going to be someone who goes, no, I'm shutting that down? So this fable represents, this is the message of the week, who work together but are not truly connected, even though the terrifying experience they go through, they work together. Ultimately, they do not really relate to one another. The fable is about shallow friends and how the price of vanity may be too high in the long run. And that's the thing. I spent many years in that, and it was a very high price. And so now reconstructing my life is a challenge, but that's what I created. So when I know that I created it, I went, oh, okay, now I get to redo. It's like we course correct, right? We don't actually go back. And I think that's the key, is that we just get to go forward. If we sit somewhere too long anyway, we get bored. So it's good to keep moving. And boredom can show up as eating too much, drinking too much, anything in excess. So when we look at this, let's see. And again, this is my tip says here, this week is about noticing that the people who are showing up in your life are a lot like you. So that is a big key. Let's see. Yeah, and the elder in here, obviously, the stranger, represents your higher self, and how your life occurs directly correlates with the energy your soul puts out. So this is really a card about personal reflection and the truth of your heart. Whether or not you are accepting what your heart is doing and energizing in your life, what's important is that not that you necessarily see that, but you may actually see the outcome, and for me, being around in the past people that were completely not who I wanted to be around at certain points in my life, it was really something of like, oh, I have to look at what's going on internally. So that's the key to that. And of course, the fable of Aqua People will fill that in for you. No, I'm not reading it. But I think, again, it's very interesting to get this kind of overview. And when you look at the first impression, I just want to see this for a second. Okay, so the thing that we're looking at here again is seeing who shows up in your life. And there is a cliche that says the 5 people closest to you in your life is going to show you how much, show you your bank account basically, because it's going to show you, the people you're attracting financially are going to be the people that are the same people that you that are reflecting what's going on with you in whatever you're focusing on. So in the case of, if money's your focus, you're going to attract people who are at that same financial level. Okay, so the color aqua actually mixes green with blue. So when we look at that idea of the heart and the communication, it really begins to look at the idea of how much are you going to honor and love yourself? And I know that's like the cliche, but what can you do to be the best you can be in this kind of circumstance? And when you read the fable, that will get clearer. And I think that the card here, it's about getting caught up. It's about getting caught up in a story that if you let go of that pattern, if you will, who will you be? And there are many people who can't give up that pattern because if they do, they don't know how to define themselves, and being in the nothingness is scary. Well, my sense is I'd rather be in the nothingness than really unhappy and not like where I am. So sometimes it's the idea of being in the unknown is where the magic lies. And that's where your life is. It's really not in being around people that, that you don't vibe with really, but you're kind of faking it because they're cool or whatever it is. I would encourage you to do the journaling. I know that I say that every week, but I think the journaling will bring some clarity. And I think that we really want to look at also, let me just see. Okay. The solo journey and the group exercise on Thursday. Thursday is always make a connection. So that's the day when you're going to get a solo exercise or a group exercise. And I really think it's important that it's a time of reflection. It's not an opportunity for you to beat yourself up. It's just observing what you're seeing. You don't have to make a decision based on what comes up for you. And I think that's another key piece here. And obviously do the meditation, because in the meditation, it gives you an idea of what to work with for the week and what you're looking at. I encourage you to read the whole thing. I'm just giving you a little bit of personal background. And remember, I will see you next week. Remember to look at doing the exercises Monday through Friday and then putting the book down for the weekend, because remember, it's that music, it's the sound between the notes that is the music. So I will see you guys next week. And oh my goodness, we are next week, week 35. No, I'll see you then.